Fear
Not
what's
much of a
inside.
tagline film.
What's
No, sorry.
fear?
It's not much of a tagline film.
Let's say fear what's inside, and one way in, no way out, which isn't true, because people got out.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
True.
Welcome to Happy Suffer with those
Well,
taglines.
One person
Well-
and something.
Look, something
Yeah.
got out, which means there's a way out. At least two somethings got out.
I think fear what's inside is
Fear what's inside
Fair.
sounds like a fucking
It works on
walking,
multiple levels.
Sounds like
Yeah.
a Walking Dead tagline. I don't like it. This is episode 296 of I Hope You Suffer. I don't know. This movie's got a lot of buttholes. That's my name.
what other buttholes are you talking
I don't know.
about?
There's like
No idea.
There's the one that like she crawls in towards the end, where the one lady just like implodes into a bunch of fucking whatever. And then
Oh.
like it might be the same one that she like looks in at some point. It turns into like, oh no, it's like after her blood like drips into that thing from her fucking eye, and then it just turns into a weird like fiery butthole of like
Okay.
cells expanding. I don't know. I was not expecting it. Anyway, who the fuck are you?
There are buttholes everywhere for those with eyes to
Apparently, yeah. True. There you go.
Look, if you want to see buttholes, you'll see buttholes.
The real buttholes were inside us the whole time.
Yes.
The friends we made along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Who are you guys?
I'm.
There you go. I actually had heard that sound on TikTok for forever, and I did not know what it was from. And I had such a dissociation happening when I heard it in the movie. I was like, what's happening right now? It really freaked me out. I'm albino crocodile.
I was gonna say you're the crocodile.
Yeah, I am.
Honky croc.
Yeah. We watched 2018's Annihilation.
Yes.
Okay. Right off the bat, Katey, we got to get something cleared up. Where
Oh.
do you stand vis-a-vis Jungle Jack Perry and CM Punk?
What?
That was just a joke for
Such
Kit.
genuine confusion. What?
I'm confused, and I know what I'm asking. There's some just dumb wrestling drama continuing.
Oh my
Okay.
god, it's so stupid.
I when you said we gotta get something straight in my mind, I was like, what could I have said that was divisive about this already from the get-go?
We've got to know where you stand on this very crucial issue of whether
I
they should have
stand with-
played footage of fucking a backstage
Yeah.
fight.
Should they have aired the backstage footage, Katie? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, you do. I think you do not
Disagree.
agree with most of the people that work for AEW.
Wait, did they show the footage and people are mad about it, or they did not show the footage and people
it's
are mad?
fucking. It doesn't matter. Everybody's fucking dumb. Some people
Yeah,
are like,
wrestling's stupid.
yeah. There was some fight at a pay-per-view between two wrestlers, which led to one of them quitting, maybe getting fired. And
Oh.
for some reason, months later, the
Yeah,
guy
this was fucking 6 to 8 months ago.
So the guy
Oh.
that owns the company decided to play the footage on TV, and then immediately cut to fucking Tony Schiavone being like, why did we do this?
Oh, well. Oh. Who was fired?
CM Punk.
CM Punk. Okay. I know who he is, so I guess.
Jungle Jack Perry is Luke Perry's kid.
Oh. Oh.
Weird reaction.
I don't know. I so hesitate to say, oh, I like Luke Perry, or I like anybody at this point, because I don't actually know. I don't have any, I know who those people are that you're saying, so I don't know.
Just say you side with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
Oh no.
I do
anything he's gonna say, is on the right side.
definitely.
All right, let's talk about Annihilation.
All right.
Somebody tell me what this movie was about. Because mostly I think I'm just going to sit and listen to you two argue about whether the book or movie was better. Even though Kit did not finish the book, from what I remember.
Oh, I finished it. I just didn't like it.
Did you only read the first one?
Yeah, I only read the first one. I want to read 2 and 3. I've got 2 and 3. I bought like the whole trilogy thing, but I just got to work up the will to do it.
Listen, I feel like I read the trilogy like pretty soon after they came out, and I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't seem like something I would like, but I don't know what it was about the timing of me reading it. I absolutely loved it. I do think that it is kind of dry for like a sci-fi, because it kind of is almost written in like, maybe clinical isn't the right word, but it's very much like more so about like the Southern Reach and like the politics behind like the actual people doing the thing, and less about Area X and like what's happening, I feel like. So those are like two ways that I felt like the movie and the books differ. I am going to stay away from spoilers for the books because
well, yes, from what I understand, it sounds very like different from what this movie was.
Yeah, like essentially the only thing. Well, and it's interesting too because, like I said, it is a trilogy. So, but this movie is very much like concluded. I would say like this is like they basically took like all 3 books and then just kind of like put them into one movie, like sort of, not even, because it is like a full movie, right? Like there's a climax and everything. There's an ending.
Well, so like the thing I was reading was that when they started production of it, only the first book was out.
Yeah, I did.
Like, I wonder if like, because there was the thing with like Scott Pilgrim, where the guy that made the comics for Scott Pilgrim hadn't written like an ending yet, like the last book had not come out or something, and so like he talked with like Edgar Wright about like what was going to happen, and he kind of like just Edgar Wright decided to do like whatever he was going to do with the ending. And so I think it differs from the comic book. I can't remember. And so I wonder if like this was sort of maybe a same thing. Maybe like the author was just like, yeah, this is like my plan.
So the thing that's like really weird about it is that it's a trilogy, but they all came out in 2014, and apparently the rights to the movie were purchased before the books even came out.
Yeah,
in like 2013 or something.
I mean, it sounds, because you gotta figure that's around the time that like Hunger Games and fucking Divergent and all that shit was getting made, where like they were probably just scooping up anything they thought would be like a sort of sci-fi or like dystopian future fucking teen novel drama bullshit.
Yeah. So,
is this like an author that had books prior?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was like. That would seem very strange if they're like, we're buying the rights before this book's done.
No, he's like pretty prevalent.
This is going to be the episode that I'm going to sound the dumbest on, because I am like very unengaged with sci-fi and sci-fi books and shit like that. So I'm going to just be like, yeah, I don't know what any of this shit is.
Yeah, he was pretty well known before the movie came out.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's been writing since like the early or maybe late 80s or something. So like he's been around. He's got a bunch of like awards and whatnot. These were the first books that I knew who he was, but these were the first books that I read by him. So anyways, to sum that up, I'm just gonna say I'm not gonna say any spoilers about the books, because I do. First of all, Kit just said he didn't finish reading it, so I'm not gonna spoil it. I think, for me personally, the ending of this trilogy is like one of the best endings to a series ever, which is like, to me, saying something, because normally I really hate endings, right? So I think it's worth reading if you could get into it.
That's because you're such a big Stephen King person. He's taught you to hate endings because all of his are bad.
So is it?
That's fair.
I'm assuming it's just the M. Night Shyamalan of books, where like most of the movie sucks, but the ending is like, what the fuck?
So, and I will say, like, and what Kit said last time is like very true. This movie basically just took like the very loose plot of the books and then like made their own movie, because really the only thing that's similar is like Area X exists, which is the area that they go into, right? Something fucking weird's happening with the main character's husband, and
basically just like general setup, and then just kind of did whatever.
That's kind of it, yeah. Because but I will say, like, overall, I still don't know if I liked the ending to the movie, but overall, I actually really liked the movie. Like, I thought their representation of Area X was very close to what I imagined when reading the books, and I thought they did a really good job with that. And I like Natalie Portman in it. Not that I don't like her, but sometimes I just feel I kind of feel lukewarm on her or whatever. But I thought she was pretty good. So yeah, I mean, definitely very, very different. But overall, surprisingly, as a whole, I did like it.
I'm not really sure how I feel yet. It's a movie I think I need to like rewatch now that like I kind of got an idea of what it is and like actually kind of like, I don't know, pay attention to other things going on in it, because like I really liked like the sound design and like all of the sort of like set kind of shit going on. Like everything in it, especially once they get into the shit. It was a glimmer or shimmer, I forget.
The shimmer.
Like everything in it looks very cool, and like the way everything's like designed. But like I had a hard time dealing with how blasé so much of the acting in this movie was. Where like I feel like there'd be shit going on and every character was just kind of like, well, I don't know, what if we go to that lighthouse over there? That might be a bad idea. What if we just stay here and go back there? And I was just like, come on, somebody have some fucking range of emotion in here.
I feel like
I also like this. So this movie kind of sat with me that I feel the way Prometheus sat with a lot of people. Where I watched it and I was like, I don't hate this, but I also like, I don't know if this works for me. And it's like I said, like I think it's something I need to rewatch, because I'm like, I was interested in like sort of what was going on and what it has to say, but I also don't think I understood most of what was happening.
Yeah. So I will say, like, my interpretation of like the acting is that I don't know that I loved Jennifer Jason Leigh in this, to be honest with you.
I think she was kind of miscast. I think you could have had somebody better. I agree. In that role.
I thought Gina Rodriguez did a really good job. Tessa Thompson, obviously, amazing. I think that the thing with it for me, though, is that like there's a really big emphasis on the fact that this is like an all-woman group, and because they tell us like information that we have. And so I think that the main difference, aside from like the endings, obviously, between the books and the movie is that we pretty much, except for what's going on in Area X and everything around that, they give us a lot of information that you don't necessarily know until a long time in the book. So like this movie, it follows Natalie Portman's character, who, first of all, nobody in the books has names at all. So that was like one of the big things that they changed. Natalie Portman's character is Lena.
How do they refer to them in the books then?
By their profession.
Just so, Lady 1, Lady 2.
Yeah. Dame number, blonde
Dame. Dame.
So it would be like the psychologist, the biologist, the whatever. They're referred to as like their profession, or like what their job is or their role is like within the team. And so the movie is basically like giving us flashbacks. So it's like everything in the movie has already happened by the time the movie starts, and then she is relaying her information to Benedict Wong, right? About like what happened, and then within her telling us what happened, she's also remembering things that happened before that. And so we already have the information going into this that the expedition before she goes in included her husband, but it was like a bunch of military men. And so like there's a really big fact that this is an all-woman team, And Natalie Portman used to be a soldier or whatever, so she's got like military training, but nobody else has like combat training. And so they're very much like, okay, we're gonna send in like these scientists, this geologist, like all of these like women of science and service, right? One's a medic. And so I think that like aside from Jennifer Jason Leigh, like I said, who I agree, I think she's miscast, everybody else until they're like, I think that they did a really good job of like underwriting the characters, because like I think there's a like stereotype that, oh yeah, we're gonna send these women in and they're gonna be hysterical and crazy and they're not gonna know what's going on, but they very much just like they're just normal people trying to scientifically understand what's happening to them. And then obviously you get attacked by like a skeleton bear, you're gonna freak out. So for me, it made the scenes where people were like freaking out and being emotional like stronger, because most of the time they're very even killed, if that makes sense.
I don't know. I think it just like it made the first 30 minutes, give or take, just seem so long for me. And I think part of the thing that made it kind of confusing was watching it on Pluto, where like you would like be in a scene in the Shimmer, and then you would go to like 2.5 minutes of commercial, and then all of a sudden she's like at her house fucking that dude she's like cheating on her husband with. And I was like, wait, did I miss something? It felt like it would be like a hard jump in a commercial break that I was just like, wait, I don't know where the fuck I'm at now.
The commercials, I will say, yes, they were very like abrupt.
I bet this movie sounded fucking incredible in the theaters, though.
Oh my god, it's overwhelming.
Like that was the one thing I was like, okay, like the sound design in this is pretty fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
So especially the last like 20 minutes, it just like it's so insane to just like be in the middle of.
Yeah, like that. Like I think once you get to about the last half of the movie, I was pretty in. Like I said, like I don't know what the fuck this movie was about per se. Like I definitely need to give it like a rewatch and kind of like, I don't know, sit with it, because like
it's about cool animals.
Yeah, about 2 cool animals and some people and
three cool animals. 3 people.
4.
Oh yeah, I guess there was those weird fucking deer looking things.
The Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like so, overall, I think it was. Okay, I was to say it was like overall, I don't know. I didn't rate it on Letterboxd because I was like, I don't even know how I would rate this. With like,
I saw that,
and I was like,
like there's like I think 2 or 3 movies I've watched where I'm like, I don't know if I could like actively rate this, because it was like I said, this isn't like I didn't dislike it. I also like I don't know how I feel about it on like a first watch. And it's like, it's kind of, like I said, it's kind of the way I feel like I saw a lot of people react to like Prometheus when it came out. So now I know how those people feel.
Yeah, I mean, that I can actually see that. I didn't rate Titan for kind of the same reasons, where I was like, well, I hated this until we talked about it. And then I was like, maybe I like it, but also I will never watch it again. So it can stay no rating or whatever. But, I could take regular notes, like they aren't really long, and then I thought maybe we could talk about what we think happened. Any other comments for Kit since he picked this movie?
No, not really. I mean, it just fucking slaps. I saw it when it came out, and I was like in the middle of a real bad depressive episode, like after a breakup, and I saw it, and it was just like such an unreal experience, like, and it felt like such a parallel to that depression.
Yeah,
like it just really grabbed me and kind of never let go, you know. So from that, it's just kind of been a movie that's stuck with me this whole time.
It's interesting because, like, I don't say this in the usual like negative way people say it, but this movie has like a strange sort of like uncanny valley feeling to me when I watched it, where like it kind of like you know, obviously nothing in it is real, but like I was like, none of this feels real. It feels very strange. It's sort of like its own weird thing.
It's like a Earth that like it just veered off ever so slightly from ours, so it feels like just a little off, a little strange.
It's like when you see those like AI images that actually look real, but then they just have like 9 fingers for some reason.
Yeah,
it's like
the weird hand.
Like I'm like, wow, this is really like makes me feel really upset and kind of weird at what I'm watching or looking at right now. All right, Katey.
Okay. So I called Benedict Wong Hazmat because
it took me so long to realize that's who that was.
I don't feel like I'm used to seeing him without some kind of like facial hair and stuff or whatever. His name is Lomax, but I just called him Hazmat because he's wearing like a hazmat suit to interview Lena, who is Natalie Portman, who is the main character. Okay. So they're being kind of vague about it in the beginning. He's just like talking to her about this place that she's been, that she has lost time. Like she thinks that she's only been there for a couple days, and he's telling her that she's been missing for months. And, essentially he's like, what happened to everybody else? Like everyone's dead.
What?
So it's like one of those movies where you started knowing that everybody is dead except to her.
What happened to Tessa Thompson? Because I don't remember seeing.
She's a tree person.
She's a tree person.
Okay. I remember her like walking off somewhere and then was just like gone. And I was like, I guess also to be fair, I watched this in like 2 settings at work. So like,
well, it's not explicit, but it's heavily implied that she became a tree person.
One of those weird like plant, like people-shaped plant things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everyone's dead. This is just like House of the Dead, where the movie starts and she's like, everyone's dead.
This is just like House of the Dead.
The first time Annihilation's ever been compared to House of the Dead.
We should make a shirt that's literally just says, this is just like House of the Dead.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I will. Whenever I figure out
we'll just draw like Clint Howard in Annihilation.
Yeah. Clint Howard turning into one of the flower people.
Clint Howard is just takes fucking Oscar Isaac's role.
I think
equally handsome.
I would agree.
The image of like Clint Howard like in the shadow with just a headlamp lighting him, and he's like holding a guy's guts in his hands that are like moving,
snake intestines or whatever.
Fucking horrific.
I think he would buy one, honestly.
Oh, absolutely, he would.
Okay, so now we are going back into the past, where Lena is basically teaching science, cellular science. A colleague comes up to her, invites her to a barbecue, and is basically implying that like he's basically just like, it's been a year, like you're allowed to come enjoy yourself at a barbecue or whatever. And she's like, I have to paint my bedroom. Goodbye.
Yeah, fair.
So she goes home and has some sad memories about her husband, Oscar Isaac. But luckily for her, he immediately comes back after being missing for a year. His name is Kane. And she's like, oh my God, you're back. And is like hugging and kissing him. And he is not, he's like, obviously something is wrong with him. He's like not responding to her at all, as if he's been reunited with his wife, right?
Just being so weird. Like,
yes.
Non-responsive.
So she basically is like grilling him about, like, we basically learn that he is in the military, and sometimes he gets sent on like covert operations and doesn't really divulge the information to her. So because he was gone for a year, she's like grilling him about like, well, where were you? How did you get here? And he's basically literally just like, girl, I don't know anything. And she's like, were they speaking French? Was it snowy? Where, like, literally tell me anything. And he's just like, I don't know. Does it really matter? And she's like, sir. But then
it's so weird though, because then they show like before he goes on his trip, and he's pretty much the same. Like, yeah. I was baffled by their relationship anytime they show like the sort of before he leaves. where I was just like, I don't think these two like each other at all.
Yeah. I think that they just think each other's hot, to be honest with you.
His, like, reveal of, like, hey, I gotta go now on, like, his trip and just leaves, I was like, okay, you blatantly do not like your wife.
He, like, well, I think I have an explanation about that, but he basically just, like, throws up deuces and leaves, so.
He has to go be Apocalypse.
Okay. Yeah, he wants to get shimmered. Can you blame him?
He is, got Moon Knight stuff to do.
Look, I'm gonna say, just having to fucking blow yourself up with, like, a phosphorus grenade seems bad. I'm not here for that.
Yeah.
Really awful, but extremely cool looking.
Yeah. Yes.
If you're gonna die in a terrible way, at least make it look cool.
But
especially if you're fighting your horrible Shimmer clone.
They did not really seem to be fighting, to be fair.
No.
I don't, but I would have given up too if I saw my Shimmer clone.
Oh, fuck,
I'm like, yeah, all right, give me the grenade.
If I saw that weird fucking amorphous creature walking at me, I'd be like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
You could have my life. It's not great.
It's so Jover.
Have fun going to work
I barely
for me.
like her. Yeah, exactly. Literally, actually. So
dumb aliens are in for fucking bad news when they get into the real world.
Yeah, they have to try.
They gotta get jobs.
Oh, I'm in the military? Fuck.
So she's grilling him. He doesn't know anything. Then he starts coughing up blood, actually spitting up pints of blood, it seems. So she calls an ambulance, and they're like racing down the road, and then all of a sudden this like fleet of like military cars pulls over and like takes them, knocks her out. Then we get the card title, Area X. Lena wakes up in a like little room, and this is when we're interested. This is where we are introduced to Dr. Ventress, who basically questions her about Kane, her husband, and is kind of like, well, what did he tell you? What did he say? And she's like, he literally wouldn't tell me anything. Like, I don't know anything, what's going on with him. And Ventress is essentially just like, he's got multiple organ failure. He's going to die. And Lena is kind of just like, okay, well, I'm literally a doctor. Like, she teaches science, but she used to work at Johns Hopkins, but also she was military, so she's been busy. And she's basically just like, tell me what's going on. Like, if I have more information, then I might be able to help him. So Ventress shows her Area X, which essentially is like, we see the building, like the Southern Reach building, and then it's like across a marsh, and it's essentially like an oil slick but see-through, like a barrier. And so she's like looking at it, and Ventress is basically just like telling her, this is Area X, we don't know what it is, the only thing that we know is that whatever we send into it does not come back, and also it's growing. So in a couple of months the border will be past where we're standing now. And then she's also talking about how the Shimmer appeared. We do see like a flash in the beginning of something crashing in kind of like a rainbow prism
it's like a
type situation.
Or whatever.
Yeah, at a lighthouse. And then they're essentially just like, and I was like, oh, the lighthouse. If you know, you know. Nobody else here knows.
So many
but
farts.
Yeah, that's where. Yep, that's the fart housekeeper. Works there. And
so this movie missed this should like a fucking weird alien creature version of Willem Dafoe just come out.
I would like it. And so she's basically talking about how the Shimmer started around this lighthouse and expanded, and so she's like interested in going there and like figuring out what's going on, right? So yeah, so Ventress is like, yeah, nothing has come back out, and Lena is like, something did come out, because she's talking about her husband Kane that came out. This is when Lena meets the other girls in the team, Anya, Cassie, and Josie. And they're all different kinds of like scientists / service people, and they have a beer and a giggle together because they're just gabbing.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
That's what you do with the gals.
Girls
Ladies be
being
gossiping.
girls being girls. So, Cassie reveals that her and the group are going into the Shimmer, which is Area X, right, with Ventress as their leader. And Lena is like, oh, that's wild. So Lena tells Ventress that she wants to go with them into Area X because she feels like if she goes in, she could find answers that will help her save her husband. Somehow. I don't know. So they go into the next card, which is the Shimmer. This is when we immediately randomly see a scene of Lena cheating on Kane with the colleague that invited her to the barbecue. I was like, excuse me?
So is she cheating on him, or is this post him going missing?
This is him. No, it's before.
Okay.
Because they have a conversation later where he says, he like asks if she thinks he knows, and she says, yes, I think he does. And so I think that kind of explains why when he was leaving to go on the mission, he was just kind of like, peace.
I've got to go.
Sense.
Yeah, bye. See you later, bitch. Have fun porking that guy.
Yeah, I'm going to bang a weird alligator.
Yeah, I'm going to go fucking have my insides rearranged in a bad way while you're getting yours in a good way, I guess.
I'm going to go stick my head in that butthole. What are you going to do about it?
Well, so is she.
Well, fair. It comes full circle. So, yeah. So, and I think that
just like a butthole.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, thank you. I wasn't expecting to talk about buttholes a lot this episode, to be honest with you. I think I should have, but...
I mean, you should expect that every episode.
Yeah. I think
Just wait till next week.
So this, to me, was very confusing, but I think that this was supposed to be her having a dream. Because after they show us this, she immediately wakes up in a tent in the jungle, like, jars awake. So I think that, like, they're showing us this part of her life as memories that she's dreaming and not necessarily them cutting back to it, which to me was confusing. But I think, to your point, Nathan, it was because there was it said the Shimmer, then there was a commercial, and then it cut to them doing it.
I feel like it did that every time there was a commercial break, and I was like, wait, what? Where the fuck am I now? And
so
I definitely think I need to watch this where it's like non-broken
no commercials. Yeah, that was confusing because I was like, hold on a mo.
It made the movie feel like really jarring in a way that was like not pleasant. And I think that's like part of the reaction I had to it was probably due to watching it like that, where I was just kind of like, I can't tell what the fuck is happening now because every 10 minutes I'm in a different scene after a commercial that like just doesn't make sense. Like, not even a different scene, like a different place. Because it was almost always like you would be in the Shimmer and then like straight to like a weird flashback, or like vice versa. And I was like, I can't get a grasp of like what is happening.
Yeah, I agree. I think
I think overall too, I think this would have worked better for me as like a mini series over like a 2-hour movie, because I feel like there was just like I wanted more stuff in the Shimmer, I think, and like more kind of like interacting with it than you get, I guess, in this. Because like every time they would cut back to her like backstory and shit, I was like, I don't care about this. Like, show me a fucked up crocodile again. Show me like cool set design instead of just this bland bedroom where she's having a conversation with this dude she's fucking. That didn't like. I feel like at least for me, did not really add a lot to the story. But that could just been me. I don't know. Like I said, I'm dumb.
Well, okay. Let's.
I want more Tessa Thompson, less all of that shit.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so yes. So Lena abruptly wakes up in a tent in the jungle. She hears like jungle noises, as you do. She gets out and is like...
It'd be weird if she heard city noises.
She's like disoriented because she doesn't remember anything about what's happened before she wakes up in the tent. And fair.
It's just camping.
They're essentially like, so we've been making all of these logs, and according to the logs, we've been here for 4 days. And she's kind of like, how is that possible? I don't remember anything about anything. And they're like, yeah, we don't either, but What are you gonna do?
The logs don't lie.
Yeah, we've been here for like 7 days, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
I would immediately turn around, go back.
Yeah, like no, this is already too much.
Wait, her name's not Tessa. Josie
it's Tessa.
Is. It is Tessa.
Josie Thompson.
Yes. She's basically talking about how like the devices that they brought with them are wacky, like the radio signals don't go out, and Ventress is like, yeah, like the entire time. So this Area X has existed for like 3 years or something at this point, and she basically is just like the entire 3 years that we've been sending people into the area, we've never had like radio communication. It always just goes dark or whatever, and they're kind of just like talking about that, right? Then they come upon a cabin that is kind of like half.
I just like, you think after 3 years you'd have a better plan than just keep sending people in.
I mean,
like, yeah, they're sending women in now, okay?
At least do like the Simpsons one where Homer gets stuck in the 3D thing and they like tie a rope around Bart. Do that so you can pull people back out.
Yeah.
I do feel I could be misremembering because it's been somehow like 10 years since I've read these. I do feel like maybe there was some kind of cable involved. No?
Oh, not that I remember.
I'm going to say they're in deep diving suits.
Yeah, probably. Either way, it doesn't really matter because, whatever.
All I remember is the quote-unquote tower and the thing with the partially human face traipsing about the forest.
Why the fuck was that not in the movie?
I don't know. I mean,
there kind of was.
I'm talking about the tower. Give me a tower. Everybody likes a good tower.
Well,
Lighthouse is kind of a tower.
True. The thing that I feel like I wish they included was one of the this isn't really a spoiler obviously, but one of the like main focuses of the expeditions in the book was a tower, but it's into the earth. Essentially.
Yeah, it's like an inverted like they only call it a tower, but they describe it not as a tower.
Yeah, they're basically just like, in my head, this is a tower. It's just inside the earth. And that was like one of my favorite aspects of like the books. And then they decided just to go with like a viney lighthouse. But that's fine. I like lighthouses also,
so in the book, is the lighthouse not a part of it? It's a tower?
I can't divulge more than that. I feel like
you can tell me afterwards because I'm never going to read this.
I feel like it's verging on. I feel I shan't say any more about that.
I got a book of essays that's like 500 pages long about showgirls that I'm going to read, and then I'm never reading a book again.
Well, scholarly.
Yeah. I got to learn everything I can about showgirls, and then I've learned all the good human knowledge.
Everything. Yeah. Okay, devices are wacky. They come upon this cabin that has all these like crazy flowers on it.
I want you to write like the plot breakdown for like IMDb. They go into this thing. Devices are wacky. There's a lighthouse. The end.
There's a bear. Like I feel like it can't be that. Yeah.
Katie's 15-second YouTube reviews.
Yeah. There's a bear.
You should just start doing like TikTok reviews of movies that's like that.
I will actually.
Only 15 seconds is the longest you can do.
You know what? I would do that, but I just can't deal with people being mean to me on the internet.
Well, but you also have to dance the whole time, so.
No.
And point at words.
I'm out. No, I hate that. I fucking hate that. They come upon the cabin, right? There's all of these crazy flowers that essentially Lena is just talking about how they are like.
Whoa, Fast and Furious.
Cool guy.
Fucking asshole lives like right below me, and the cold start on that car is so fucking loud, and he'll start it up at like 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, for no reason.
Yep. I have people next to me that do that too. Well, technically it is their work van, but it's like one of those really old, big, shitty white vans, and they started up at like 7, and then they just let it idle for 20 minutes, and it's literally right next to our house. So I'm like,
fucking hell,
fucking kill me.
My old apartment, like the dude that lived there is like ex-wife or girlfriend, I don't know, she would be there every once in a while because they had a kid together. And she would do that where at like 6 a.m. she would have to get up for work. And it would be like August, so it's like 80 degrees at 6 a.m. And she would like turn her car on and let it run for like 45 minutes.
Yeah,
and I was like, your car, it's fine. Like, I promise you, you could have gotten to your car, waited 3 minutes and left, not let your car run for fucking 45 minutes and burn like 3 gallons of gas.
Right, and like if anything, I feel like letting it sit there that long is like worse for it than driving away immediately.
Also, she just had like a shitty Jeep. It wasn't even like she had a nice car.
Yeah,
it was just like a generic Jeep, and I'm like, come on.
Okay, so there's a bunch of flowers. Lena is talking about how they basically have been like, their genes have been like warped to the point where there's like a bunch of different kinds of flowers but growing from the same plant, which is weird but pretty cool. And Josie checks out the cabin, and she comes out and is basically just like, yeah, nothing to see here, and is immediately ripped back into the cabin. And as I said, the cabin is like halfway down into the water.
It looks so she's like pulled sick.
Yeah, she's pulled down into the water and is like struggling. Like, we can't see what is happening. There's just like water splashing everywhere, and they're screaming, and like they end up pulling her out and like running away like back into the woods a little bit. And we can see that there's like something thrashing in the water, and it swims up to the bank where they're standing, and it is a huge albino gator, but there's a bunch of like mutations with things in Area X where they'll have like this weird colorful like coral fungus looking shit going on with them. So he's got like red, like
it looks like he's rotting, like
it does, yeah,
red splotches.
Yes. And so essentially what ends up happening is like they like shoot at him and he's like running at them and stuff, which no thank you. Lena ends up killing it, and afterwards they're like studying it, and she's talking about how it's also mutated like the flowers, where the inside of its mouth has rows of teeth like similar to a shark. Double no. Sounds really bad.
I really like that shot of like them discussing it through the crocodile's mouth.
Yeah,
that was like a
really
cool shot. I was not expecting it to be like a just like, you know, for the most part regular looking crocodile when it was like revealed what grabbed her, because I feel like I was like, oh, there's gonna be like some weird maybe like alien creature thing going on, and I was like, oh, it's just a huge crocodile with shark teeth, I guess, because the way she gets grabbed does not feel like a crocodile did it.
No. It definitely seemed like something with like tentacles.
I guess like
snatched her back.
If it grabbed her backpack, I don't know. That was the one thing where I was like, this feels like it was not a crocodile that did this, but maybe the crocodile's got weird arms that we didn't see.
It's true. We don't know. Maybe he could stand.
Maybe those teeth are actually
on the back
tentacles.
of his legs. That's right.
That would be incredible if it just came just hopping out of the water on its tiny back legs. Just looks dumb as shit.
Okay, so now we are in current time. Lena is talking about the mutations, and it makes sense actually, because she's talking about how the mutations are getting weirder the closer they are to the lighthouse. So it makes sense that if they're only 4 days in, that like essentially, like you're saying, the gator is like normal. There's just like some weird shit about him, but he looks pretty normal, right? So the closer they get to the lighthouse, like the worse the mutations get. And he's talking about to her like, oh, are they like things that you would see in a nightmare? And she says some things are, and some things are basically like more beautiful than they normally would be. There's like glowing fish. We talked about the deer with like the cherry blossom antlers, again, which is like literally a Pokemon, but they're like ethereal looking essentially, and they're not scary at all. So now Lena and Cassie kind of form like a little bit of a friendship, and they're basically just like shit talking about everybody's traumas. Like, not shit talking, but Cassie is like, so like, why are you here? We find out that like Lena divulges to them that like her husband is like MIA. one of them lost a daughter. Like, they basically are talking about the reasons why they're, like, essentially willing to throw their lives away to, like, explore this area. Except nobody at this point knows what Ventress's, like, deal is. So that comes up.
Well, also, like, nobody knows that, like, Natalie Portman is, like, had any connection to prior.
Yes,
like, she leaves it out, I guess, when she talks to him earlier, which, like, becomes a plot point.
Yeah. So they come upon an abandoned building, which used to be Fort Amaya, which was the old headquarters of the Southern Reach. I guess if we didn't say it, the Southern Reach is the name of the organization that is sending out the expeditions into Area X. So they are kind of like on the front lines of this anomaly happening. And so they're the ones that are basically being tasked with, like, figuring out what this is. They find remnants of the military operation having used this area as, like, their fort or, like, their base or whatever, including her husband, Kane, which, as Nathan just said, Lena has not told them who her husband actually is. Ventress finds a memory card that is labeled "For Those That Follow." And the video is essentially Kane cutting into a dude's stomach, where they reveal that there's some kind of, like, eel-like thing swimming around in his stomach. And half of them are... Yeah, no. And, like, he sticks his hand underneath it, so you can clearly see that the thing is moving, right? And Josie is, like... Not Josie. Anya. Anya's the one that used to be the medic. Anya is like, no, it was just a trick of the light. There wasn't something moving around in his stomach. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, watch the video again.
Fucking high.
Like, I'm not gonna watch the fucking video again. Really crazy trick of the light, right? And so through the video, they've realized, like, that the area that they were, like, doing this to this guy is, like, the pool. So they go to the pool area and they find the guy, like, fused into the wall through a series of, like, fungus and or coral type things, and
seems bad.
Not great. Yeah. I don't think... Also, his skull is, like, in a separate area than his body and whatnot. Seems really bad.
Yeah, his, like, entire upper torso is, like, completely detached.
Yeah.
Did you notice that he had the same Ouroboros tattoo that she has when she's given the interviews?
I noticed that, because doesn't one of the other women have it at some point too?
Yep.
That's what I saw. I noticed that. I don't think I noticed he had it, but I noticed that, like, Natalie Portman has it at the end or whatever in, like, the interviews, and that, like, one of the other women had it at whatever point.
I'd never picked up on it being on the dude in the pool soldier. Before. Yeah. I was like, oh, fuck.
Interesting. Actually, it makes a lot of sense in context of the movie also.
I would be so bummed out if I came out and just had, like, some other person's shitty tattoo on me now.
Yeah, oh my god.
Especially some military dude, you're gonna end up with, like, a fucking Punisher skull with, like, Trump hair or some shit.
You get a fucking SS tattoo.
All of a sudden you got a fucking Burzum tattoo on your back. Just Varg doing karate on his kids.
Yeah.
Woof. Lena also takes samples of the guy's situation to look at or whatever. Then later she grills Ventress about why she chose Kane for the mission and, like, questions his state of mind. And I think Ventress's job is that she was a psychologist, right? So it was her job to, like, interview people, pick people who were, like, sounding up, quote unquote, whatever. Because she's kind of just like, I don't know, maybe your marriage wasn't as great as you thought. And Lena's kind of like, okay, bitch. So as they're, like, having this, like, whole conversation...
Am I misreading, or was it, like, I might be. I might just be, like, equating it with other things. But it felt, like, a bit like the typical sci-fi sort of... And, like, the Alien franchise is kind of, like, a good sort of, like, version of this, where just, like, it feels like she has an ulterior motive for being in there than what she's telling them, sort of like Paul Reiser in Aliens? Or am I just, like, equating that with other sci-fi things, and she's actually just gets, like, fucked up in the Shimmer?
Well, she is being disingenuous to them in that we find out later that she has cancer that she's going to die of. And so I think it was kind of more like, did you see Rose Red, the Stephen King miniseries?
No, you've told me about it, but I have not actually watched it.
It's kind of like the same thing, and from how I'm taking it, as like the woman in that, where she just becomes so, like, Area X in the Shimmer has been like her entire life for like the last 3 years, and it seems to me that she just becomes so obsessed with it and figuring out what's going on that she's just like, I'm gonna die anyway, I'm gonna go in and like sacrifice myself to be a part of whatever is going on.
Gotcha.
So like, yes, in that she's pretending to be their leader, and that they all pretty much know the chances of them coming back are zero, yeah. Right? So it's not like she's lying to them, but it's like she is going in absolutely knowing that she is not coming out, which is like not the same for everybody.
It was one of those things.
I took it.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I took it partially too as like a kind of a last ditch effort of like maybe going in there could cure her cancer too,
right?
Since she knows
I think I missed
everything kind of changes and morphs in there.
That's fair.
I think I missed them saying that she had cancer, because like I think like the way Jennifer Jason Leigh plays it is so like
uninterested.
Like, well, yeah, bland isn't the right word, but she's just very like low key about everything, right? Until like the end, I guess, when she's like about to explode. Like,
yeah.
But like I don't like for like the first half, I was like, okay, well, she's clearly like working for the army, and I was expecting that, like, you know, sort of like the reveal in Prometheus when you find out that like Wayland is like there, and it's sort of like this like, you know, a mission that was like not what everybody else was told it really was, sort of thing. And then like all of a sudden she just like disappears from the rest of the group and is like at the lighthouse, and I was like, oh, okay, now I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kit's onto something too, because like if you think about whenever people come out, they're like, we really only have Kane, but as soon as Kane came out, he was healthy, but obviously is dying because of it. I think that she does think she can cure it.
Coughing up pints of blood.
Yeah, so but I think that like
you can do.
She is like, I don't think she's misleading people specifically, but I think she is disingenuous.
Okay.
So
yeah, see, like it makes more sense like when you both said that like she was dealing with cancer, because like I think I just missed that part for whatever reason. There was a section where like Pluto froze up on me, and when I like rebooted it, I was like maybe 10 minutes ahead of where I was at, and so like I may have just missed that completely. But yeah, that makes more sense, like knowing that, I guess. Because like the entire time I was watching it without that knowledge, I was just like, all right, well, obviously there's going to be some sort of like, oh, we're trying to like do this to build like a military weapon or some shit kind of reveal that like never happened. And I was just like, okay, now I really don't know what the fuck's happening.
Yeah. Okay, so Lena and Ventress, I keep wanting to say Prentice, are like having this argument, but before Lena can get like answers out of her, they hear a really loud crash, and they're like, oh my god, what was that? They're looking around, they're using their night vision goggles or whatever, and essentially they realize that something has breached the grounds, but they can't see what it is. And we see through night vision goggles what appears to be some kind of freaky bear, right? We don't get like a good look at it at this instance, but it grabs Cassie and just like yoinks her. Like, see ya, she gets yoinked.
The term a freaky bear,
everybody's like,
just like
oh my god, you know, like it's freaky, of course. And they start to argue about hello.
Oh yeah, you just
Oh, there you go.
Your internet apparently not working well.
I don't know. No, I noticed that earlier. Like, yeah, I don't know what's going on with the connection, but I heard you just said to me the term "a freaky bear,"
but, like,
and it was just dead silence.
So I said that, and then you were like on our end continuing to talk, and I was like, "All right, never mind."
Oh no, I didn't. Yeah,
I was gonna say a freaky bear just made me think like it was a bear wearing like Janko jeans and a corn shirt. Not worth the joke to even like come back to it.
Actually, yeah. So, it's mostly been okay now. It was really freaking out in the beginning, but I don't know. Okay. So now basically, they're arguing about whether they're going to turn around and go back or continue to the lighthouse. Ventress is like, I don't give a shit what you do. See ya, I'm going, and leaves. And Lena is basically like trying to convince them to keep going, and she says, we're only 2 days from the coast, we're 6 days from the other way or whatever, so we should just keep going because it'll be faster to get out that way. And they believe her. She's lying. Don't hear anybody again.
What?
Okay. Sometimes the sound just goes completely blank, and I can't tell if like I've lost people or not.
Here, hold on a second. Hang up the call, and we'll try and like add you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Finally, she's gone. Now we can talk shit about her.
Yeah.
All right.
That was weird. In the last, 2 minutes, it got really fuzzy.
Yeah, that fucking Katey.
What was going on?
She's gone. I can't wait till she listens to this later. Well, she just fucking left again. She's gone for good. Yeah, when we recorded that Soviet sleep experiment episode, it kept losing the connection. So hopefully this fixes it.
Fucking weird.
If our internet's just not going to work and call her back.
Yeah, it's given up.
The fuck. I should leave all of this in the episode.
Yeah.
Come on, Kate. What the fuck?
What in the fuck was going on?
I had to hang up on you again because we had to get our real thoughts about you out on this.
Okay, that's fine. That was so weird. I kept trying to join the call, and it kept trying to do a face thing, and it would not let me answer. But also, it was a video call only, and I was like, "What is going on?"
Weird.
I don't know. It's the shimmer.
The shimmer.
Okay, what was going on? Oh,
A bear.
The girls.
The freaky bear.
Brother bear shows up.
I love it. The girls are arguing about whether they're going to go on or whatever. Lena says, hey, it's actually easier if we just keep going to the coast because that's where the other barrier is or whatever, which, like I said, is kind of a lie. All right. So
it's technically the truth, but also she's just saying, I guess it's the truth. It's just, but she's saying it to keep going essentially.
Right, but I feel like the barrier is probably wouldn't they have to swim out into the ocean to get through the other side?
Well, wasn't the idea that they would get to the coast and then take it whatever direction?
Just walk down the coast,
get out or whatever. That was the way I heard it.
I still feel like they should have known she was being shady, but whatever. So now
I feel
we're in
at
real
that
time
point
again.
I would have just killed myself.
Yeah, I'd been well, that's it.
Or I would have just stayed and tried to become a fucked up crocodile or something.
Yeah, why not? So we're in real time now. This is when essentially Hazmat is the one that reveals to Lena that Ventress went in because she was sick and had cancer. And but he's kind of you had to have known that though. So somehow Lena gathered that and was just following her anyway. This is where we see the deer with the cherry blossoms, antlers or whatever. They're looking through the forest to try and find Cassie, and Lena does eventually find her. she is extremely dead. I would say.
Not regular dead. She had
extremely.
She had a skateboard on her.
Yeah. So they keep going. They come upon this like house, and this is where we see the tree people. It's literally trees that have grown, flowering trees that have grown in the shapes of people, and they're kind of like trying to say that they're not actually people. This is like when they get into kind of like the philosophical idea behind what's going on here, where Josie says she realizes that the signals that they're trying to use to like communicate out of the shimmer are not being blocked, they're being scrambled and refracted. And the same idea goes for all of the DNA that's within the shimmer. So essentially they're talking about DNA bouncing off of everything, including themselves, including the animals, including the plants. So it's like everything is becoming one with everything else, which would explain the tattoos.
Yeah, there's like a really interesting idea in here that, like I said, like I feel like if this was a mini-series, I would have liked to have seen expanded more on, where like the things that are assimilated into it are like the non-violent stuff. So like you get like the plants, and then the deer or whatever, and then like the things that are sort of fighting against it or are like more, you know, quote unquote violent, like the bear and the crocodile just become like weird fucked up monsters. Which I thought was like a really interesting idea that I wish was like able to be like expanded upon more.
Yeah, I agree. I think this would be good as like a mini series.
Yeah, like I feel like an 8 episode, you know, like Netflix whatever mini series would be really interesting.
Yeah. So yeah.
Give it like 5 years, somebody will do that.
Sure. It only took them 5 years to release this movie.
Look,
so
they're about to fucking reboot Scary Movie. We're not. They also literally just fucking did a remake.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're rebooting Scary Movie.
I don't know if I feel like those movies work anymore, but
I mean, it's gonna be like a bunch of fucking jokes about cancel culture and shit. I guarantee it's gonna be fucking garbage.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's about trauma.
Yeah. It's A24 Scary Movie. Honestly, the only way you could get me to watch another Scary Movie is if they let like A24 or like Neon or somebody do it.
Wild.
They literally just released the trailer for that Speak No Evil remake, which is like a movie that came out in like 2022 or some shit. So like,
I was gonna say, didn't that come out a couple years ago?
Yeah, literally. There's just America was like, well, I can't read subtitles, so
yeah,
I would not put it past there to be. Well, I don't know. This movie did not do well, right? Am I correct on that? Was this like think so. Kind of like,
I don't think it did very good.
A flop, but like it's so weird because it's like one of those, like everyone I follow on Letterboxd, except like if say like there were 50 people that I follow that rated it on Letterboxd, like 4 of them were like below 3 stars. So it seems, and like most of them were 4 to 5. So it seems like it's like a movie a lot of people like. It just maybe was probably, I'm guessing, not marketed well. Because I have no real recollection of this movie, like when it came out. I feel like it was like maybe once it hit like streaming, I started seeing people talk about it.
It had weird release issues too. So like, they're fighting with the producers over it, and I think they got dropped from the original like release studio, so they had to sign a deal to debut on streaming, like over in Europe. And
yeah, I saw something.
It was like a whole weird thing.
Netflix handled like the basically
international distribution.
Yeah, it was. I guess like whoever the financer at Paramount was just like, the movie's too confusing. Fix it or whatever. Like make it like less, and like I guess the producer for it or whatever was just like, no, like I'm sticking by the director. Let him make his vision.
This rocks.
Which is,
I'm gonna also
that guy.
Like this seems like a thing, like again, where like it seems like something that a studio bought without really like thinking what they were getting. Like the kind of how like you had that real like big kind of record label like emo punk buy up boom for like major labels in like the 2000s, and then when we get these bands and they were just like, oh well, we don't know how to market you, so sorry. And it kind of feels that where like this was coming towards the tail end of that like I said, like Hunger Games kind of style, you know, book adaptation thing that was like blowing up for a minute, and they probably got it, and then we're just kind of like, oh well, we don't really know what to do with this, so somebody else figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember what we got. Like what led to that diversion.
I have no idea.
Probably
okay.
the bear.
The
bear.
We just found out that basically it's like a primordial ooze situation going on in there.
Oh, that's we got diverted based on I said like I would have liked to see it expand on the like assimilation versus turning wild things even wilder aspect.
Yeah. So, also Anya is acting kind of weird. Shocker. Then we're getting the memory of Lena cheating with her coworker again. And this is the scene where they're kind of like talking about it, and Lena is like, this was a mistake. And her coworker is like, I don't understand like what the issue is. Like, we very obviously have this like connection, and it has nothing to do with like our husband and my wife and everything. And Lena is just like, no, I don't ever want to see you again. And he's kind of like, they're basically like mean to each other, because he's like, you hate yourself, you don't hate me. And she's like, no, I hate you too.
I felt like she was being mean and he was being, I don't know, I guess it could still be mean, but like the sort of tough love aspect. We're like, I guess he's also cheating, so I guess it doesn't really make a difference. But it felt like a thing where like he actually liked her, and like maybe she was just like out for some sort of physical connection. And like, I don't know, that was also another one of the scenes where I was like, wait, where the fuck am I at now after commercial?
Well, the reason that I'm like a little bit confused about this situation is because he does make a comment about like, I see you more than you see your husband. Well, yeah, colleagues, and her husband keeps being like, her and Kane are in bed together having like a little chatsy or whatever, and they seem like their relationship is fine. They're like, he's like tickling her and like whatever. Like, that's the only scene we see of them interacting before him being like, all right, see you later or whatever. And it's after this scene where like the colleague says, do you want to stop because you think he knows about us? And she says, yes, I think he does. So like, I guess I just feel like there's no reason for her to be cheating on him, but whatever, who cares?
Yeah, it felt like that was a story that just like is not, like, you just don't really get an explanation for. It's just a thing that happens.
Yeah, I don't know. So Lena wakes up to, like, I'm assuming that, like, she was reliving this memory in her dream or whatever. She wakes up to Anya pointing a gun at her, and Anya's calling her a lying bitch. Suddenly, everybody's tied up. Basically, Anya had found the locket that Lena has been wearing that has Kane's photo in it, and they recognize him from the video. So she's like, you've been fucking lying to me, like, you've been lying to all of us. And, like, Anya is very obviously experiencing some mental distress, but she's also trying to, like, logic it out about the situation. Because she's talking about how, like, they had this conversation in the beginning where there's two theories about what's happening in the shimmer. One is that outside forces, so alligators and bears, are what's killing the people. And then the second one is the people who come in basically go crazy and kill each other. And so Anya's trying to be like, well, like, we know a bear is the one that killed Cassie, except only you and Ventress saw the bear. We didn't see the bear, so maybe you're lying. And she's just like, this is like a whole conundrum. And but because then Anya starts saying, when I look at my hands and fingerprints, I can see them move.
Upsetting.
That's not great at all. I really don't like it.
Although, if you're a criminal out in the real world, it seems like it's just probably gonna like fuck your fingerprints up.
That'd probably help.
Probably be fine.
Yeah,
now.
That'd be helpful. And she starts to move. She's basically trying to like rationalize what she should do at this point. And she starts to move towards Lena with a knife, and then suddenly, this perhaps to me is the most disturbing part of the movie, where they hear Cassie, who is dead.
Oh yeah, this is so upsetting.
So she's like, help me, help. And they're all like, and Anya's like, Cassie, I'm coming, I'm gonna save you. And she runs out, and you hear her basically get fucked up. And this is when the skull bear walks in. And we physically... he literally is like a bear, but his fur and skin from his face is missing. Like, that's essentially what's going on with him.
Cool. It's like a human skull, like...
Yes.
On that one eye.
Yeah. And so he is opening his mouth, but you're hearing Cassie's voice come out. Like, help!
So
help.
upsetting.
But it is. And it's like distorted in a way, and I hated it. The idea of this like scares me, because this is essentially kind of like a skinwalker type situation, which I absolutely hate and I do not want to have any part of. So he's like walking around very slowly, sniffing them, opening his mouth, and like human. We were talking about this like, in the Predator episode
weird,
2.
Scream coming out like.
Yeah, terrible. Yeah, he's basically walks over to Josie and like puts his entire fucking mouth on her like shoulder area. But then Anya, who is very wounded, comes back in and starts shooting at it and essentially distracts it by getting mauled and killed by the bear.
It's a pretty good distraction.
Yeah. Also, again, pretty gory based on what we'd seen in the movie so far. I was like very taken aback by like
it's
he
probably
basically just like rips her face off.
The most like horror aspect to the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so Josie gets free and shoots at the bear while it's trying to attack Lena, essentially, but they kill the bear. Ventress is basically just like, okay, I'm starting to lose my fucking mind, so I am leaving now. Like, I understand that it's nighttime and it's not safe, but, like, I can't stay here, I have to go, and she takes off. Josie and Lena, who are the only two left at this point, stay. And Josie is basically talking about, like, trying to find out more information about Kane now that she knows that Lena's married to him. And they're basically, like, having this kind of, like, philosophical conversation. And if you notice when they're talking, her whole thing was that they're like, oh, she used to cut herself, but it wasn't because she wanted to die. It's because she wanted to feel alive. And I was like, okay. But so there's a scene where they're kind of like talking about like Kane and like what happened and everything. And she's like touching her arm where like her scars are. But you can see that her veins look very strange. And she stands up and she's basically just like talking kind of cryptidly to Lena. And she just like walks off into the trees, and you get glimpses of her where you can see that she started to like sprout leaves and flowers and shit. So Lena goes after her. She turns a corner, and Josie basically has just disappeared in a field of tree people, which they're just kind of like alluding to the fact that she has become a tree person.
I think I guess kind of what I gathered, but I wasn't sure. And
yeah.
All of a sudden she's just gone.
Yeah. So now the hazmat guy is talking to Lena and is basically just like, well, if everybody else like kind of died and succumbed to Area X, like, why did you survive? And she essentially says, like, I'm the only one who had to come back. And so she's essentially saying that, like, her will was so strong because her point of going in was to bring back answers to save her husband, and she was the only one that had, like, an actual reason to want to come back. Whereas the other, I would argue that Josie and Ventress chose to become a part of Area X. Like, the other two were mauled by a bear, so I don't know about that, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think that comes back to the, like, whole assimilation thing, where, like, it feels like they just kind of accept that that's what's going to happen, and that's what, like, leads to them assimilating earlier than the rest of them. Or I guess, the two that do assimilate, I guess, as opposed to get eaten by a bear or whatever the fuck happens to Natalie Portman.
Yeah, so now we are at the lighthouse. That's the title card, right? Lena is freaking out a little bit because she's alone at this point because, like we said, Ventress has left. She's freaking out, but she's made it to the shore and the lighthouse. And we see a bunch of essentially trees made out of crystal. She approaches the lighthouse. There's a bunch of skeleton pieces just, like, scattered about outside the lighthouse. And inside, I think that what they did with the lighthouse was pretty cool because she walks in and it's, like, completely white. Like, everything's white except for this charred body.
Yeah, and the butthole.
Yeah, we're getting there. The butthole is basically just, like, a hole into the side of the lighthouse, like, into the earth. Also, we see a body that is very charred and appears to have, there's, like, explosion marks on the wall behind him, and a video camera, a camcorder, if you will. And so Lena is like, okay, weird, watches the video, and the video is basically like very weird snippets of Kane being in the lighthouse, essentially. And it's just, like, a bunch of weird stuff. It's, like, a view from inside the butthole out with, like, a creature and, like, Kane doing different stuff. Very weird. Kane, in the video, goes and sits down in the same area and the position where we've seen the skeleton. So, like, immediately we know that was him. She doesn't know yet. And Kane starts talking. Suddenly he's Southern now. I don't know if maybe he had the accent before, and then when he came back, he didn't have one, but he's definitely got a Southern accent.
I think
now.
I read something. Well, go ahead, kid.
No, I was gonna say I think that's it.
I thought I read that it was something that, like, it's kind of like the tattoo where he picked up somebody's accent while he was in there. I think I was looking at one of the trivia things on IMDb, and I thought that's what I read, but I could be wrong.
Who knows? But he essentially is just talking about how he doesn't know who he is or who he was, or maybe he's you, maybe he's me. I don't, whatever. And then he says, "My flesh moves like liquid."
No,
again,
that's a line that sticks with me. That's so
I hate
evocative and horrible.
As we're talking about it, this feels like very Color Out of Space influenced.
Yeah.
Like, not necessarily the movie, but, like, the actual story. Like,
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, a meteor hitting the Earth and just, like, weird shit happening, and I don't know. Feels very Lovecrafty.
Things becoming one with the universe, essentially. So he's basically just like, I don't really know what's going on with you, whatever is going on here. And then he says, take care of Lena. And he's talking to the cameraman. The cameraman says, I will. He doesn't have an accent, but and then we see Kane literally detonate himself with the grenade. So we have seen her actual husband die, which is really startling to her, right? Because her husband came back to her. And then we see the cameraman step in front of the camera and turn and look, and it's her fucking husband. What? Okay.
That's what the world needs, is more Oscar Isaacs.
And I wrote it like, he detonates a grenade. Cameraman is
also I have
also
a theory now.
Yeah.
Maybe this is real, and this is how they made Moon Knight. And it's actually all different Oscar Isaacs playing the different versions of Moon Knight.
That was my thought too, actually. What if secretly Oscar Isaac was like triplets, but he never told anybody, and this is like how he's been doing?
My theory is he's a weird alien creature.
That could be too. That's essentially what triplets are to me. So.
What about twins? Are twins alien creatures or just triplets?
Just triplets. I feel like I believe twins could happen. Triplets, absolutely. Anything past twins, no.
What about the lady that had like the octuplets or whatever?
Nope. Okay. So yes. So cameraman is also Kane. Then Lena hears Ventress making noises down in the butthole. So she goes down there, and this like chamber thing reminded me of Prometheus, where it's just like black, but like it's like all black but like textured, and you can like see the walls moving and shit, and it's like very weird. And Ventress is basically just like, I don't know, saying a bunch of nonsense. Like, I have no idea what the fuck she was talking about.
It felt like she was like just saying like generic sci-fi dialogue. But, like, I assumed it was something from the book when she was, like, delivering it.
It may have been. I didn't remember it. But it's just, like, weird shit. Like, the door is red. The day is long. You know, like, cryptic, weird shit.
It felt, like, oddly, like, literate, like, all of a sudden. Where I was like, oh, maybe this is just something from the book that I'm, like, not aware of.
It could have been. I don't remember. But she's basically just like, it's inside me, and it's going to just keep growing until annihilation. She says annihilation.
I get it.
Then she starts, thank you. She starts, like, shooting fireballs out of her mouth, essentially, and is like, bah, 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 and it's like, it's kind of hard to explain the scene because it's like...
It's very visual, like...
Yeah. You have to experience it. Describing it doesn't do it any kind of justice, I don't think.
No, because so she's like spitting out fireballs, but it kind of is like long tubular things, like kind of like Donnie Darko kind of situation too. But she starts like stealing cells from Lena. So Lena's just like standing there watching, and like her cells are literally coming out of her and like zipping into her, and there's like shit going on everywhere. Essentially, Ventress's body kind of like explodes into this thing.
This fiery butthole.
Yeah, but like I really, as I was watching it, was like, I do not know how I'm going to explain what this is. It's kind of like a mass that's like constantly, like there's like a light in the middle, and it's like constantly circulating its surface through itself.
Yeah, like kind of, sort of like at least if I remember correctly, like sort of like black hole-ish.
Yeah,
but like not know, like made of like fire or whatever.
Yeah, there's like a bright light in the middle, and it's like like making noises and shit. And I just wrote "there's a thing" because I don't know. You go watch it, and
You'll
drops
get it, a thing.
Yeah, a thing. You know, when the thing shows up, and you're like, "What is that?" Yes. A drop of Lena's blood gets sucked in there, and there's a bunch of stuff. Yeah, it's a really weird. It's kind of like from her nose, between like her nose and her eye.
Wherever it was coming from, I did not like it.
No, but the thing likes it. It's like it does a bunch of science. It looks really crazy.
It essentially starts doing the like cells
regenerating,
replicating thing.
So it's like bloop, 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 showing us, but it looks really crazy. And then all of a sudden, there's just what I described as a chrome person with tentacles, and it like beeps at her, and she is at first like, "What's going on here?" And then it's like, and she gets scared and she runs out of the hole. she like comes out of the hole back into the lighthouse, but the crone person's already in there, and she's like, and it basically just starts like mimicking everything that she does, and she like struggles with it a little bit, where she's like trying to leave, but it like presses itself up against her to the point where she like it like knocks her out or something, and is like mimicking her again. She passes out, whatever.
It's weird. It's like almost like a ballet scene where like because the way she like falls and it's like mimicking her, it's like very fluid, I think is the best word, and just like it feels unworldly the way she's moving, and this like weird creature is also like mimicking.
This isn't the same, but it kind of reminds me of that dance scene from the Suspiria remake. Where it's
where she's like being killed in the dance scene or whatever.
But how the dances are just like weird and seem like not normal.
Yeah, it's like it's very like yeah, it's another thing like I don't even know how to explain it because it's just like it looks like Uncanny Valley is like I think the thing I keep coming back to where like it looks human but just off enough that you're like something's fucked up here.
Yeah. Yeah. So essentially she realizes that it's like mimicking her or whatever, and she ends up getting one of the grenades from Kane's bag and hands it to the crone person, and it starts to transform into her, and she pulls the ring and just like runs out of the lighthouse. The grenade goes off and like catches the crone person's hands on fire, and then it touches Kane and essentially catches fire to the lighthouse, and the lighthouse starts like burning, and then it once everything is like in flames, it like crawls its way back into the little hole or whatever, and then everything around the lighthouse starts like disintegrating, and eventually like bursting into flames, disintegrating, whatever. And then eventually we see the shimmer outside on the border disappear. So now we're back in the present, and Hazmat is basically just like, so was it an alien? Like, what did it want? What was it here to do? And she's essentially just like, I don't know. I don't think it wanted anything.
Like, bro, it beeped and booped at me. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Like, literally. And so he's like, well, what was the point of it, like, landing here and destroying stuff? And she's like, it wasn't destroying anything. It was just changing things. And he's basically just like, well, we sent a team to the lighthouse and it's burned down. Like, whatever it was is dead now. And they also tell her, she's like, okay, like, I've answered all your questions. Like, what's going on with my husband? And they basically say that after the shimmer disappeared, he basically was fine. Like, his vitals went to normal. He woke up and he's like he's fine. So she goes to see him, and she walks in and she says, you aren't Kane, are you? And he says, I don't think so. Are you Lena? And then they hug and their eyes are weird. And that's the end.
It's a real, I kind of really like the concept of like, or I guess the idea behind like, ideally, whatever this meteorite thing, alien shit going on, is like really making things better. Like, it's changing things, but it seems pretty awesome. I would like to live in this fucking world in the Shimmer. Doesn't seem like people have jobs. Everything looks cool. And it's just like humans being like, no thank you. I like having a credit score and blowing it up.
Yeah, so I think like that's kind of like the thing here, where it's like, you know, they're how to articulate what I'm thinking. And also, I feel, tell me if you guys think the same. I think that the clone of Lena is what actually left the lighthouse, and Lena is the one that stayed behind and destroyed it.
I don't think I agree with that. I think it's just that, like, both of them are, like, changed. They're not, like...
Yeah.
Like, obviously their DNA and shit has to be fucked up from, like, being in there. And I think they're just, like,
he's
different.
definitely a clone. He's not, the original Kane.
I think she is still her. I think she's just different now.
Yeah, she's been altered by the shimmer.
Why would the creature stay and, like, destroy everything, though?
I mean, I don't think it did.
Same reason it did ballet.
I think she used the phosphorus grenade on it, and it's like it just starts lighting things on fire. And like I kind of look at that creature in like the aspect of like a newborn. It was just born. It doesn't know what's going on. It's like fascinated by her. It's fascinated by like the fire, and it like touches whatever, and it just burns everything down. And so I think
like it walking over to his body and touching him was deliberate, is how I interpreted it.
Oh yeah, I don't know. That's not at all how I did. I looked at it more as like this is a creature that doesn't fully know like what is happening, what the world around it is, and it's just kind of like exploring, and it just happens to be on fire, so it burns everything down. This feels like one of those movies that like I'm sure there's probably like really fascinating like essays about, because like the one thing I do really appreciate, and it kind of goes back to a lot of the stuff we talk about with like some of the movies, like especially when we've covered some of these like stuff like Titan and like Let the Right One In, or like whatever, where like I kind of like that they leave it just unexplained at the end. It's just this shit happened, and take with it what you will. And so like it makes it so that like there are different, like just like right now, like Katey has a way different take on the ending than Kit and I did. And so I feel like there would be like really interesting things to like read from people that are way smarter than me about what this movie was about.
There were a lot of really good like in-depth analysis pieces on it whenever it first came out that are definitely worth digging up and reading into.
My original plan is I was going to watch this Monday on like my day off or whatever, and I kind of wish I would have, because I probably would have just spent the rest of the week like reading shit about it instead of watching it last night at work. So I definitely think like this is definitely one that like I will rewatch at some point, and like actually a point where I could actually like have it not broken up by commercials. And I definitely would like to like read some shit about it, because I think there's really interesting ideas on it, and I think on like a rewatch or two I think I would like really like it. It was just like watching it with those commercials, and especially the way the commercials were like breaking things up, it just made it like really like confusing, and I was just like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. I feel like I missed a scene because like the way the commercials were in it. And yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. I guess maybe because did Arrival come out kind of around the same time as this?
No, it was 1 or 2 years before.
I feel like this is
same director.
No, Alex Garland.
Wait, no, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah. I feel like this and Arrival got like mixed up for me, because it seemed like Denis Villeneuve did Arrival. I feel like
Arrival 2016.
There's like a scene in Arrival or something, because I haven't seen it, but I see like clips from it and things where like what's her name like goes up to maybe like a force field isn't the right word, but I don't know. Something about those two movies got confused in my head. So I was like, as I was watching this, I was just like, this is not at all what I thought this movie was. Very, very confusing watch. But overall, like, I don't know. I enjoyed watching it. I need to process it and watch it again and like read some shit, I think. Because there's like some really fascinating like ideas in here that, again, I kind of wish had more time to be expounded on. But overall, not bad. Katey, you still there?
Yeah.
All right. Tell me the ending of the third book.
No. I know. I actually just.
All of it was a dream.
I actually just saw
the Dallas ending.
They're adding a fourth book.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. Is it Absolution?
Yeah, I had not heard of that of this. October.
When did
it was just announced a couple of days ago.
When was the third book released? Like, is this like is this a recent?
All 2014, right?
They all came out the same year.
Oh, weird.
So this is like a 10-year anniversary. They've got some really fucking cool looking 10-year anniversary reprints.
I'm looking at some of them right now. So I was like thinking I wanted to. So I originally like had read it, but then I got the audio. Like I read the first book, but then I audiobook listened to the second two, and I kind of feel like I recommend listening to the audiobook if you're an audiobook person. But then I was like, oh, maybe I want to buy them now and reread them, but maybe I'll just wait because some of these are like crazy looking.
Weird. I had never heard of these books until like last week. Which is weird because I feel like a lot of people I know are like very into like fantasy and sci-fi books and shit. That's just, I don't know, until you two were talking about this in last week's episode towards the end. Like I'd never even heard of them.
Very interesting.
Well. All right, we already discussed the good news of Scary Movie coming back. Finally, the one thing we've all been clamoring for. Also, apparently, Blumhouse is rebooting Blair Witch Project.
Boo.
Katey got kicked off and has joined back again.
No, I was done with the conversation. I don't know what happened. It just like force closed.
Kit, are you excited for Daniel Roebuck to play Santa in Terrifier 3?
I am.
I fucking hate these movies. The more time passes by, like I don't even need to hear anything about them. I just fucking hate them more and more.
Yeah.
And I don't even have strong feelings about Daniel Roebuck. You saying a sentence to me about Terrifier 3 made me upset.
If he doesn't have a fucked up forehead, I do not care.
Yeah, if he's not Herman Munster, I don't give a fuck.
If he's not in Matlock, don't talk to me.
I think the other thing I saw was the fucking Joker trailer, which...
Oh my god, I haven't watched it, but I saw someone was like, "Is this the greatest shot in a movie of all time?"
Oh, the
and
fucking
it was
smile thing.
The fucking
I was like, it's
losing
fine,
my mind.
But like, it's not. It's like, yeah, I saw so many people
watch more movies, weirdo.
I saw so many people were like, I guarantee you, like this movie's winning an Oscar next year for this shot alone, and I was like, you are fucking crazy.
The fuck?
Like, it's fine. It's a good shot, but it's not like it's not. I wouldn't even put it in the top 100 shots of all time, let alone. I don't know. I'm so fucking baffled. Like, I haven't watched Joker. At some point I will because I got a free DVD of it. But like, the fucking pivot to it being a musical is so fucking weird to me.
Yeah, confusing.
All right, Katey, what'd you watch this week?
Yeah. I'm gonna be really honest with you. I basically just watched a bunch of different Ghost Adventures series. So
unsurprising.
I have had a terrible week, so I did basically just like put that on in the back of. Oh, I finished My Ghost Story, which is like an old, really, really terrible story, like show where people talk about their like paranormal experiences, and for the most part, they'll be like, and then we saw this apparition, and they'll show the picture, and there's like literally nothing in the picture, and they're like, I was so scared. It's stupid. And then I watched Ghost Adventures House Calls, which happened like sometime during the Ghost Adventures happened sometime during the pandemic where somebody would call and be like, my house is really haunted, my kids are getting thrown down the stairs and stuff like that, and then Zach would like through Zoom dispatch the team to like go to these people's houses, and it was like during COVID, so they were all wearing masks, and Zach was like, due to my condition, I will not be attending, but I will be here with you every step of the moment. Zach gets possessed via Zoom. He's like, I'm not even there.
How does anyone take him seriously?
I love him. I love it so much.
Yes, but like I don't think you
stupid.
obviously don't think it's real. Like
no. But like the concerning amount of people that they do their quote unquote investigation and then they're just like, your house is extremely haunted. You need to sell it and move now. And people are like, oh my God, okay. Dude, stop telling these people to make really bad financial situations.
I feel like it's going to come out that like he's just buying up property
like
for
a realtor
Airbnbs
mobile. But like
your 2-bedroom, 2-bath house in Santa Barbara, you should move out of there. It's definitely haunted.
Yeah. Literally lowball. Get out of there this moment. It is ridiculous. And there was like the show is only like a season and a half. Like I think one of the seasons is still coming out potentially, but like multiple people in the first season, he's like, your house is possessed by demons. Move now. I'm like, leave these fucking people alone. Then I watched Where Are They Now, which is basically just like people that they've gone to their house before, like what's going on with them now. Like I literally. And then I started watching just regular Ghost Adventures again. And I feel like maybe I watched something like we're still watching through X-Files. Obviously, we're like a little past halfway of season 5, and then we have to watch the first movie, because apparently it's extremely canon to what happens in the TV show, and I was like, that's random.
It's very. What's funny is I saw the movie in theaters. I had not seen a single episode of the X-Files before I saw the movie. I don't remember how I ended up there, but
I will say it's like really interesting to me because like I was obviously really young when X-Files was on. I was texting Nathan about this episode that has literally plagued me my entire life. I was literally
Is it
so
Fluke Man?
No, he's scary too. No, it was in season 5, and it was like these like invisible tree people, and I remember being absolutely terrified. Like I could not sleep as like a 10-year-old or whatever. Because of this episode, and it has stuck with me. And as we're watching through it, I was like, maybe I made this episode up, like, I like because we hadn't seen it. Again. It could have been, but then we fucking saw it, and it's like in season 5, and it was still so freaky. I still really hated it, so I feel like vindicated that like whatever.
It was real.
Yes, but the thing that's like interesting to me about X-Files is like this is the farthest I've gone like sitting and watching every episode. I've just literally watched like random episodes, like the episode arc where Mulder like goes to like the jungles of Guatemala or whatever, and he's like in that little radio tower. I've seen that arc like so many times just because like they happen to be on TV. But I didn't remember the show having such like an overarching story. Like, for some reason in my memory, it was, like, literally just, like
a baddie of the
monster of the week.
Yes, yeah. Because it does kind of start out like that, but then once you get to season 3, it's, like, pretty much only overarching story. And, like, some of it is really wacky.
I feel like that's how, like, a lot of those shows were, because it was, like, it's a thing that probably got picked up, and they had no idea it was going to become as popular as it was.
Yeah.
Because I feel like even if you probably watch something like, I don't know, like Murder, She Wrote or whatever, it probably starts out as like a mystery of the week and then slowly has like a, you know, like...
No.
So there's like, she doesn't have like any sort of like storyline throughout? No. Really?
Not really. Like the story is that she writes novels, like murder novels, and so people constantly are like, oh, this murder happened, we need you to come check it out. And there's weird. Like reoccurring characters, but there's not like a overall...
for some reason I just felt like there was like an overarch, like you know, like relationships she has or whatever sort of thing.
Well, it'll be like her poor fucking nephew like goes through it. It'll be like, oh, I don't know, there are like reoccurring characters, but there's not an overarching story. It's just like different. She just happens to know a lot of people who know a lot of people that get murdered.
I'm like
suspect.
I'm really interested to see like what Ryan Coogler is gonna do with an X-Files reboot.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or like remake, but like, because I need to sit down and like actually watch the X-Files. I've seen like maybe 10 episodes of it. Yeah, like I've never like disliked it. It just was one of those things that like I wasn't wholly interested when it first started, and then it got to a point where I was like, this is too. I'm not diving into like 4 episodes of this or whatever, and now it's like it's so much that I'm like, it's such a daunting idea to like dive into.
I do feel like it's kind of, in my opinion, a slow start, because in the beginning, it's kind of more like a FBI procedural.
Right.
Like, I feel like the episodes, like, there's not a ton of stuff happening, and then once shit kicks off, like,
I feel like at some point I had like started it being like, I'm gonna watch this, and I think I made it maybe like 3 or 4 episodes in, and I was just like not in the mood for it, so I'd like put it off and then just like never went back. Because I remember when it came back in like 2018 or like whatever, when they started doing new seasons again. Like, I remember seeing some of those episodes, because I know there's like an episode where Mulder and Scully are like dealing with technology like revolting against them or whatever. Like, the whole episode's like a commentary on how much, like, you know, smart houses and smartphones and smart cars and all this shit, and like what would happen if they just decided not to help people anymore. And I remember that episode, but yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm always like, and anytime I decide like I should like jump into this, I'm like, nah, this is too many episodes.
Yeah. Okay, the episode that scared me is season 5, episode 4. It's called Detour, and it came out in November of 1997. So yeah, I should not have been watching that. But that's pretty much it, I think.
All right, Kit, what'd you watch?
Let's see. I think all I watched was Ricky Stenicki.
Oh yeah,
which was it was pretty decent. It's I guess it's only one of the Farrelly brothers, so you know exactly what to expect out of it. But John Cena's incredible.
Yeah, I was gonna
worth
say,
watching
like
just for John Cena.
He would be good in like just a real dumb slapstick comedy.
His comedic timing is impeccable.
He's fucking great as Peacemaker, so like I could absolutely see it.
They like encounter him in Vegas, like he's just like one of those clingy guys who just like shows up and no one invited him and he tries tagging along. But his job in Vegas is that he sings like cover songs but makes them about masturbating. And there's an extended scene of just him performing. It is so fucking funny. He does Devo, and it's when a boner comes along, you must grip it.
That's the only clip from it I've seen.
Oh my god, fantastic! And then I went and saw The First Omen, and gotta say, First Omen actually slaps.
I've seen a lot of people say
incredibly surprised. I think it was actually shot on film, and it's definitely not just like a cheap cash-in. Like, there's a lot of absolutely fucking horrific imagery in it that is going to stick with me forever. We got a super sick soundtrack.
Did you see Immaculate?
Yes.
Which do you prefer?
I think I like First Omen better than Immaculate, but like not by a ton. I would actually really like to watch them back to back.
I feel like
they are very similar setups.
Yeah, that's what I've seen a lot of people say. Like, it was like really interesting seeing these two sort of like religious,
like Catholic horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild that we got 2 Catholic horror movies like that around the same time.
I feel like that happens a lot because studios will find out that another studio is like making whatever movie. They're like, well, we gotta get one of these nun movies into production.
Steal their thunder, release it.
Was that it?
Yep.
All right, let's see. I watched a decent amount of stuff. I watched, I think all of these were maybe Vinegar Syndrome releases. Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, which was like a 1965 anthology movie that was fine. Had Christopher Lee.
So the Vincent Price one?
No, it's Christopher Lee.
Okay.
And Peter Cushing, and then I think Donald Sutherland is in it. And like, I forget if it was Peter Cushing or Christopher Lee. One of them is like a tarot card reader, and he starts like doing tarot pulls for these people in this train car, and it like is telling them what's going to happen to them when they get home off the train or whatever. And it was fine. I don't know. I'm not like a huge fan of the like 60s anthology movies to begin with, but it was fine. I watched So Sweet, So Dead, which I feel like had a different title. The fuck was the title? Oh, The Slasher's the Sex Maniac. I watched this on Tubi. I saw that title on Tubi. I was like, I'm in. And it's just like, I don't know, okay giallo. I rewatched Tammy and the T-Rex, which is a fucking banger, because I saw some Instagram reel of some film person saying it's the worst movie they've ever seen.
What?
And I was like,
watch more movies.
Yeah, I was like,
loser.
Come on, this movie fucking rocks. There is a brain that comes in this movie. What are you talking about?
Right?
Yeah, get over yourself.
I watched A Gun for Jennifer, which was really good. About a group of women in New York that form a vigilante gang to kill abusive men. Perfect. And like they run it out of a strip club, so they could just kill these dudes in strip clubs for being like pieces of shit. I watched Singapore Sling, which was fucking incredible. It's like this 1990s movie that the best way I could explain it is Grey Gardens, but extremely fucked up. It's like this mom and daughter that just like live in this house and like find some dude that they trap in the house and are constantly like fucking him and torturing him, and it's really fucking weird. But it's from 1990, and it's like filmed in black and white, and everything in it looks like it's from like the 50s. It's really weird, and I fucking loved it. Just extremely fucking depraved and just strange. I watched Five Card Stud, which is like a Vinegar Syndrome, like a Western they put out, and it's fine. I don't know. I don't like Westerns. And then I watched a bunch of fucking sex films they put out, like Blonde Ambition, A Formal Faucet, Daisy May, Amber Aroused, and Slip Into Silk. And they're all pretty bad, except Amber Aroused, which had somebody fucking a robot. Which it was just literally looked like fucking I can't think of the name of that robot. What was the Nintendo robot? Like not Speak and Spell.
That would have been weird.
It looked like one of those like weird kids robots that somebody just like attached like a fucking dildo to, and I was like, this rocks. This looks very stupid. I think that's it. Just plugging along on Survivor, which is still bad. Oh, then I started Brooklyn Nine-Nine for some reason again.
Perfect. We never finished the last season, so we need to go back and rewatch it maybe.
The finale is so good. All right, Katey, what's your shout out?
I feel like it's a cop-out to say the Southern Reach trilogy novels, but I do recommend people read that. The author is Jeff Vandermeer. There are 3 books, so you can get them together as like a series or whatever. But I also want to shout out this book that I'm reading right now that's called A Lonely Broadcast, and it's by Kel Byron, Byron, and it's got very similar ideas from Southern Reach trilogy, but I would say that A Lonely Broadcast is way more on the horror side. Whereas Southern Reach is like very sci-fi. So if you're wanting the same ideas but something more horror based, that's my recommendation.
All right, what about you, Kit?
I'm prepared this week, and it's a rare triple shout out.
Oh.
One I'm pretty sure I've shouted out before, or at least mentioned, but Jeff Vandermeer also did a Predator book that is impossible to find. Predator South China Sea.
Please.
Someone.
I have it.
Someone.
I need it.
I'm begging.
Yeah, I have it on my alert for thrift books, and it's always like, oh, it's in stock. Please pay $150. And I'm like, no.
No, I don't want it that bad. Also, the new Fallout TV show fucking slaps.
I don't know why I thought that was going to be Fallout Boy for some reason.
No.
Okay, good. We're gonna watch it, but we're like obviously balls deep in X-Files, so maybe we'll like take a break and watch it.
I'm halfway through and it's super good.
Okay.
And then finally, the season finale of Hot Ones was yesterday. I
Conan
guess.
O'Brien
and they had Conan O'Brien.
Oh my god!
And he's just unbelievably fucking deranged on it, and it rules so hard.
He's so funny.
I got 2 fucking things I snapped from it of him saying, "I'm living in sheer terror all the time," and then him screaming, "What's the point of even being alive?" after like drinking out of the hot sauce bottle.
Yeah.
There are multiple hot sauces, like the bomb.
Oh,
he just like slathers the wing in it and eats it, and then he like chugs a good amount of it, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
The one that literally breaks everybody.
Yeah, he just chugs it straight out of the bottle.
I'm very excited for his fucking travel show.
Oh yeah, I had no idea about it until watching that, and I was like, I'm watching shit out of that.
Have you watched Conan Without Borders? It's on Max. It's so good. It's just basically like he would do episodes of his late night show where he would just like go for like a week to these other countries, and it's so good. Like there's one where he just gets invited by some random person to like North Korea or South Korea, I forget which one. I think it's South Korea. And so he just like shows up and he gets fucking mobbed like he's like Michael Jackson in the 90s. Because apparently he has this insane following in South Korea for some reason. He ends up shooting like a K-pop video in it. It's insane. You have to watch it. It's so good. I miss his late night show so much. He was so good. Was that all 3? Was that your triple shout out?
Yep. That was it.
My shout out, Infinite Mortality by Infinite Mortality by Replicant. Came out today. It's very good.
Oh, hell yeah. I forgot that was coming out.
Yeah, it actually got released on Bandcamp a couple days early, but I think it's officially out today. And it's really good. Also go back and listen to whatever their Welcome to New Jersey EP where you can hear them do a cover, Burned by the Sun. Whatever Katie's saying, don't listen to it. It's broken up anyway. What?
I like the ones where he does like
I don't know what's happening.
I don't either. I think Katey got taken by the shimmer.
Yeah, Katie's phased out of reality.
I can't even tell if she's still here or not. I feel like she's still talking about Conan, and we're like 10 minutes past that. So,
Hello?
Hello?
I was talking about Conan.
You were talking about Conan, but it started coming through like 5 minutes after we'd moved on.
Okay, literally all I said was that I liked the videos where Conan either watches or plays video games.
Oh, the Clueless Gamer?
Right, but I said that like immediately after whatever the last thing somebody said about Conan was, and then you guys kept talking, so I was like, okay, obviously I'd like cut out, it's fine, and then I didn't say anything for like solid seconds, and then somebody was like, oh, she's talking about Conan or whatever. That's how delayed it was, like literally seconds.
Like I had done my entire shout out, and like all of a sudden it was I think he is fun, and we were like, what? All right.
That's just how I talk now, okay?
Yeah. So next week, I had texted the group text, and I was like, all right, well, you guys want to watch something horny, something sad, something weird, or something Italian? And Katie said something weird. And I decided to go with all 4. So we're going to watch something weird, horny, sad, and Italian.
And Italian?
And we're going to watch Blood for Dracula.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh.
So I was leaning towards
Legends.
Something sad was Possession. Something weird was Possessor. Something horny was Crash. And then something Italian was Bird with the Crystal Plumage. And then I was like, fuck it. Blood for Dracula. We're gonna make
everything.
Every V is gonna be pronounced with a W all of the next episode.
Love it.
I think that's on Tubi and maybe Shudder. It's on a couple things, I think. So It's somewhere.
It's on my DVD shelf.
Yeah, same. It is available places. Yeah, Plex, Tubi, Plex and Tubi, and Vudu for free, so.
Pluvy.
Yeah. Everybody can go see that sick new Tubi animation and then logo. And their terrible, terrible fucking new way everything looks. I hate it. Alright. If you would like to support us, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/IBSufferPodcast. You can listen to Katey and I talk about Chris Katey again. For fucking every 3 months we gotta do a Chris Katey movie now, I guess. Katie's gonna start talking in like 3 minutes again. I could hear her already breaking up. I think Katie's just gone in this episode. Terrible.
Ew.
Yeah. Katey might be back again. I don't know.
It's gross.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, God. Who knows?
All right. Katie's having her own conversation, I think. All right. Yeah, Patreon, you can leave us a rating and review on iTunes and Spotify, all that shit. You can follow us on Instagram at IBSufferPodcast. You can follow Kit at Hidden Kitstery, Kitchification of Blood. You can follow Katey, who is, I think, now just a ghost in the internet, at WerewolfFace, and join Katie's Patreon at patreon.com/werewolfface. You can listen to my other podcast, the AK Movie Club. All right. At least Kid and I will be here for Blood for Dracula next week. We'll see if Katey is dead or not. As just a ghost haunting the internet. That's what my money's on. I think she's been in the shimmer too long, and her DNA has been turned into internet ghost.
Oh, well.
Oh, I assume that was a response to something from 20 minutes ago.
Still coming.
All right. I hope you get eaten by a fucked up bear. But why?